Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot believe we're on the second week of August. Tonight is Meet the Teachers Night. And so both of my kids now are going to be in school. My youngest doesn't fully understand that, you guys. She thinks that we're just still dropping off her sister and we're going to go get a Starbucks. She doesn't understand that she's also going to become a prisoner at school. So we're gonna be working on that today before she meets her teacher. But this weekend, you guys, was filled with trying to get back on a bedtime schedule for my kids, which is just difficult for me because I am a night owl. I stay up late. So it is very difficult for me. And they touched my mic. So if I don't sound as good today, my kids messed with my settings. And it's been a Monday where I'm just like, it is what it is. This is how you get it this Monday morning. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Bjorn, and Will is our author guest this morning. I did already kind of jump into my weekend because I'm nervous about Meet the Teacher, you guys. It's crazy. I got to bounce between two and like.
Hey, can I ask a question, Amy?
Yeah.
When you say you try to explain to the youngest what's going on, are you going to try again or you're just going to let it be a surprise?
I mean, no, she's going to go meet her teacher tonight, which I am very grateful for. So she has a different teacher than her sister had, which I think is a good thing because my youngest name is Sky, you guys, because I don't know if all you guys know that. So her youngest name is Sky, but she is a COVID baby. And I don't think fully people understand what a COVID child is like. They are friggin' feral. Like, I'm not joking with you. I have a shirt for her that says cute but feral because she is. So I don't know if the teacher's ready for her. I'm mentally preparing to be friends with the principal because she is very much an FAFO kind of child. And so we'll just have to figure out what happens. But she does have a really good teacher. The room is very under the water themed with paper octopuses on the wall and they have fish. And so she is excited for that aspect, but she thinks she just gets to like pop in and pop out. So it will all be explained tonight. And hopefully by Wednesday, we're living the good life of her not having a hard time the first day of school. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, right. Fingers crossed, you guys. Yeah. Fingers crossed. But what all did you guys do this weekend? I hope it was way more adventurous than bedtime schedules. So please let me live through you guys. What all did you guys do this weekend? Who wants to go?
I'll go.
All right.
I've got to say, Amy, I'm so disappointed in you.
Right out the gate.
I'm so disappointed.
Why?
Because I gave you grief about building a house for months. And now I'm in the middle of tearing out the inside of a house till it's just a shell, being stuck in apartments, having to move to different apartments this weekend. And you haven't said one mean thing to me after months of me giving you grief. You owe me blood, girl. You should
Lost
pay
opportunities.
me. I'm so disappointed.
Oh man, here I am thinking he's going to be like, this was a smooth process, Amy, and you made it sound terrible. And this has been so smooth. And I'm like, man, what the hell? I'd be disappointed in me too. No, Russell, I will throw shots at you. I'm not prepared today, but next week, or you may get random shot thrown text messages, shots fired throughout the week. I'll make up for it. Don't. It's just sitting and waiting.
Pick up your game.
I am a panther. I am lying and waiting for the perfect moment to do it. That's what I'm doing.
It's a perfect moment. I spent the weekend moving from one apartment to the next. My wife not talking to me because I decided, I'm going to stop moving and go have a cigar.
Oh,
while she was still moving.
Didn't.
And I've been in big trouble. That's my weekend.
That is not your brightest moment.
No, I thought it was pretty funny, but
yeah, she did not.
But you had to know it was coming, right?
Yeah, I do have 100 questions for Will, though. I'm dying to ask, and I'm not asking right now, Will.
We'll get there.
Okay, hold me back. Hold me back. Bjorn, Will, what'd you do?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
So my weekend, Amy, you may not know this, or maybe you do, but my wife runs Bastrop Opera House because I've heard you mention Bastrop before. I don't know who's freezing. Is it me?
It must be.
No, so you
It
mentioned
must be.
Bastrop.
Yeah, did I
You were
freeze?
lagging, but I got it.
Yeah. No, my wife runs Bastrop Opera House, and I've heard you mention Bastrop before. So, huh. No, my internet's good. Anyways,
Yeah, that's my like halfway point for road trips, man. It's
okay.
my halfway point.
Yeah. So, anyways, what she runs that. So I was recording a show this weekend. I do the recordings there, so part of the tech. But other than that, my son came by and we spent Saturday doing electrical work. He just recently became a journeyman, so now what that means is the family asked him to do everything, right? Anything electrical, he gets called. So we ran a ton of
Your poor son.
yeah. No, it
So
was a good time. We got to spend some good time together and ran a lot of outlets and got power out by the fire pit now, which is right behind me there. So it's
that
nice.
almost sounds like being the only one in the family with a truck.
Yes. Or the friend with the truck puts a bumper sticker
Yeah.
on, says I don't help move.
Yeah,
Yep,
and I know
that's
the
the one.
feeling because I'm the lawyer for the whole greater
Yeah.
family. It's
Oh
awful.
yeah, yeah, you're in
Yeah.
demand.
Always felt sorry for doctors because as soon as somebody says, "Oh, you're a doctor," I got this pain, right?
Yeah, I hate that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Bjorn, what'd you do?
Right now, I'm thankful I don't have any special skills other than a truck that someone can use. My weekend was, you know me. My weekends are always boring. I just wrote more. But one thing I've been watching is the weather. It's been really strange here in South Carolina lately. It was its usual hot, blaring sun and 100-something degrees every day for a month or so. But here the last 2 weeks, it's been stormy every day and rains every 3 or 4 hours. It's just strange. It's not usual here,
I
but it's
miss
been good.
that.
Maybe you're getting a little bit of Texan bipolarness going on there because we had that and now it's 92 with a real feel of 105, so maybe the bipolarness is moving to y'all.
I'll go with that before the theories of some of the people I work with. They think that someone's fiddling with the Skynet and messing with the weather. So I think I'll go with bipolar weather first.
Yeah, that's what us Texans say. We live in a bipolar state. But the bigger question, Bjorn, because I used to drive a truck. I grew up in a family of truck drivers in terms of Ford, Dodge, just pickup trucks. My first car was a pickup truck, so it's very important to me.
That's so cool.
What brand is your pickup truck? That depends on how much shit I give you for the rest of the show.
Well, I'm going to open myself up to this. I have owned Chevys, Fords, Dodges, and a Nissan, but I have to say my favorite is Ford. That's my favorite truck.
Okay,
of course it is. Okay.
No.
I need to thank our listeners. We are top 1% in some channels, top 10% on other channels. We are very grateful that people listen to us. They don't usually will listen to us when we're live, but they listen to us during the week on the podcast, driving home or working out. That's why it's 45 minutes long. That's the average workout. So we want to thank people. I used to not be able to find us on the podcast channels, but now I can because Amy is magical. Amy, where can people find us?
Yeah, I remember those days when you couldn't find us. We used to communicate a lot those days on Mondays for sure. But no, you guys, you can find us anywhere that you can search for a podcast. So my go-to is Amazon, just obviously music, Spotify, Good Pods is another one. iTunes if you're an Apple user, Google Play if you're an Android user like me, Bjorn. Man, I grew up in a house full of Dodges. Dodge is my
You're a Dodge.
Dodge.
That's awful.
Dodge
Bjorn
Ram
wins.
1500 with the Hemi, man. That's my household. I grew up in those. That was my first truck. My daddy still goes through and has Dodges. I have a GMC a Yukon is what I currently have, but I grew up in a family of Dodges. My sister's got the Rebel, so It's all kinds of fun. So I'm
Well,
going
I
to give you crap for being a Ford lover. It's
I
just
do
saying.
have a Dodge in the yard though. It's a '99. It
A
was my
Dodge
dad.
in the yard. Did you hear that, Will? A Dodge in the yard. This
Now,
is South Carolina talk.
there is a story behind that.
Okay.
It was my dad's last truck. He passed away.
Yeah, you
And
can't get rid of that.
Then my mom had the truck, and then she passed away. Then my brother had the truck. He passed away, and now I have the truck. So
Yeah,
I
you
have,
got to keep that
Oh.
truck.
You got to keep that baby. Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
love
like
it.
the family truck. So
I love
Okay.
it. Well, Russell's biting at the bit. So we've got to let Russell.
biting.
Russell, take it away with Will. Go for it.
Okay, first I need to tell a story about Amy to Will. I understand you're a motorcycle rider.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Amy's
No.
husband used to be a motorcycle rider. He had two beautiful motorcycles. And the reason she has a Yukon, is that right now? The reason she has a Yukon is because she made him sell one of his motorcycles so she could buy it. So that's who
oh,
is
Okay.
questioning you today.
We should end this
Okay, no.
conversation now.
Okay, wait a minute. I will bring him
It's
in here to
awful
testify. I'm going to
truth.
mute myself. It's not.
You've lost credibility.
She froze. She
I'm going
just
to bring him in,
froze. You
Russell,
froze.
so you can understand the truth. I need you to come here.
This is serious.
And she got a hot tub too. This is
Right. Despite him saying no.
Hey. Okay, I'm going to turn my
video.
video off, but I have evidence, you guys. Hold on. I'm going to turn my video off so Josh is the one that's going to come and talk. See, he's right there, and he's going to tell Mr. Russell the truth. So come on. Okay, come on.
Okay, well, this is an ongoing war for years, ever since she emasculated her poor husband.
Love it.
Okay, Josh. Russell says that I made you sell both of your motorcycles so I could get the Yukon. Did I do that?
No, that's not true.
He can't hear you.
Oh,
You
yeah,
have to
like he's
come.
going
That's
to
not
say.
true.
No.
why is the video off, Amy?
Because he didn't want to be on video. He's unlike me.
Yeah. So there's no threat.
Okay, anyway,
Okay,
I
so
got
that
you.
is not true, Will. It's not true. Russell likes to play this story. So my husband had a Shadow and a I don't remember, State Line. Those are the two that he sold. But it
All
wasn't to get my Yukon. I had the Yukon when he still had the State Line. I'm just saying. Anyways, continue.
750
Okay.
Shadow or 1100.
For which one?
She's not going to do that.
750 Shadow or 1100.
750.
Okay.
Wow. I'm impressed, Amy. Okay.
I'm not stupid, Russell.
I didn't say that. Well, so I need to know, and then I'm going to leave. What's the status of the Smithville house currently? And you know what I'm talking about. Tell us about your motorcycle riding. What kind of music do you play? I noticed that you're a musician. And what great literature do you love? So I have all these questions, and I
Russell's
know
coming in
Bjorn's supposed to
hot,
ask
you
it,
guys.
but
Yeah, he is.
we got this artistic guy that just goes on and on with new stuff. And Will is a very fascinating guy. Someday we need to get to his book. I know that, Bjorn, but still.
Maybe you should. That's kind of important. So depends on what aspect of the house that we just remodeled. You know, it's funny you showed your pictures in another one
No,
of the
the
remodeled.
Smithville house.
Yeah.
The big mansion.
It's not quite a mansion, but I've been doing a lot of landscaping, getting the ground to drain. We had 4.5 inches of rain in 2 hours not long ago, and trying to keep my garage clean, things like that. What specifically were you going?
Wait, you know the big plantation home in the middle of Smithville?
Oh, yes.
What's the status of that house? I actually inquired trying to buy it once.
I thought you were talking about my house.
No, I'm talking about the Smithville
The house, the Hope Floats house, right? The Hope Floats was filmed in Smithville. I don't remember when, 99? Yeah, so that
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You tried to buy that?
At one time, I tried to buy that house.
Okay. That's interesting. How long ago?
15, 20 years.
Okay. All right. So that would have been about the Hope Floats time, right?
Yes. So, what kind of music do you play?
That's kind of an interesting question. I've played guitar for 20 years and I'm still terrible. And so I've got a rock opera I've written and I write a lot of lyrics. And once I started working with musicians, I gave up guitar because you watch those guys play and I've worked with some insanely good musicians and I'll be trying to figure out how to and four while they're doing insane stuff. But I write lyrics all day, and you guys were talking about there's some pretty interesting music AI. I would never publish anything through AI, but it gives me people ask time, do you have an idea with these lyrics, what kind of music? It's like, no, just I write lyrics.
So
Okay.
what genre do you mostly like write, or did you play guitar for? Like what genre of music?
If I was to do it, it'd be like Americana, but I love punk rock. One of my songs we converted more to punk rock. One is more rockabilly. If you listen, do a search on YouTube for Small Town Eats, and I wrote that about Smithville, Small Town Eats, and that one is kind of a cool one. The main line is Generica, please pass us by. Realized long ago you're no pie in the sky. Generica is a false start. I want a small town with a big heart. So looking at generic America.
Okay, take it, Bjorn.
Well, we've established you're very multi-talented, actually. I was reading on your website, playwright, books, musician, all kinds of stuff. When you transitioned from, it says here you started writing, I guess, creative writing a little more later in life, like I did. Yeah. When you transitioned from stage scripts and such to novels, how big of a transition was that, you think?
It was actually the other way around.
Okay.
I'd written my first book of The Infinite Jeff, and like you said, I didn't start till I was 45 and had no plan of being a writer. Just fell into a story. My sister's a writer, and anyways, after I'd written The Infinite Jeff, and it got pretty astonishing reviews compared to, it was pretty strange. But I had this other story.
Unexpectedly pleasant.
Oh yeah, I expected to get ripped apart. I expected,
yeah.
And I got compared to Ted Decker and Peretti. What's his first name? David Peretti, right? Got compared to them. It's like, that's strange. But I was commuting to work, and I had this other story in my head, and so when I finally decided to write it, I was very involved in theater, so I thought, why not do a play instead of a book? So I wrote the play Clinically Undepressed, and every time we've performed it, it's been astonishing. So, but you ask about the difference, and I really love writing plays because it's dialogue. I write dialogue. I can write dialogue all day. And then I can just put that little sentence, it's dark outside. They walked into the kitchen. Where in a book, now you've got to put all the stuff, the kitchen, what it looked like, what time of day. And it gets very tedious, where just writing dialogue is so much fun.
Yeah, I can identify with that. I like doing that. Of course, mine's in novel form, but it's right. You could really build your characters, build their personalities and their inner thoughts just strictly through what they're saying, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a blast. It's like euphoric, just when you get in the flow of the conversation and you see two different personalities talking to each other, and they're distinct people, and then it's amazing.
With your series, The Infinite Jeff, there's I see 4 installments here, books 1 through 4. When you started writing it, did you intend for it to be 4 books, or was it going to be kind of a shorter version, or how'd that work for you?
Yeah, there's a long answer to that. I'll try and make it short. I was telling you, my sister. Well, another question you had is what influenced me, and that was kind of leads into this. I was commuting a lot. I actually during 2008, if you remember 2008, it was a pretty bad time in the tech world, and I was got laid off from a job and took the first job I could get like 6 months later, and that was in San Antonio. So I commuted from Smithville to San Antonio. Yeah. And anyways, so a lot of time in the car, and I was plowing through audiobooks, and I listened to Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions. I don't know if you guys know that book.
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. Written in 1884 by a guy named Edwin Abbott. And anyways, it's about a two-dimensional being gets visited by a three-dimensional being, and just to go quickly, it just really sparked this idea for a character. And so I called my sister, who's a writer, and she said she can't write the book, but give her an outline and she would write it from the outline. So I sat down and started writing, and don't write outlines. I just don't think that way. I just started writing, and what came out was a story that was that would end up being all four parts. And we took the first one, which so it's the story is the character's trip out from California to Pennsylvania. That part two is his time at Pennsylvania. Part three is his trip back, and part four is his time at home, where he gets to kind of process everything. So we spent 2 years editing part two to get that done. So I had the whole thing written, had the concept for the whole story since the beginning. It just took a long time to write.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit about the story itself without giving too much away?
Yeah, it's meaning of life. The character is out of work, which some of us can relate to, and trying to figure out the next step. And he is so he sees meaning coming from three things in life: work, religion, and family. And work is just money. Religion, it doesn't resonate with him, and family's everything. And so now he gets a job over in Pennsylvania, a short-term contract job. So he's going to take this trip across the country to do something he hates doing and leave the one thing that matters to him. And so he's a tech writer, and he's going to go out there and be a tech writer and get paid while doing it. So anyways, he takes off in part one, and just a few miles down the road, there's a stoplight, and there's a guy standing at the corner, and the stoplight changes to red, and he sits there trying to not make eye contact with this guy. And finally the guy says, "Hey, where are you going?" He says, "Going out to Pennsylvania." He says, "Hey, that's where I'm going too." And so ends up this hitchhiker rides across the country with him, and they go on all these wild, crazy adventures. And the hitchhiker's name is Jeff, and that's the Infinite Jeff. And very enlightened, unusual person, and starts bringing meaning, starts deconstructing Stanley's views on religion and so many things, and then starts reconstructing them into something that makes a lot more sense. So yeah. And part two, just real quick, is now he's at the job, and he's always hated his work. So he's at this company, but the company functions extremely different than other companies, and they see their main purpose, their main product is their employees, and what they sell is their byproduct. So their thought is, if I create a good product, create employees that are doing what they naturally love to do, then our product will be good. And so Stanley walks into this company and is treated amazing right away, treated as a perfect being right away, and ends up thriving in this company, and then has to leave. So yeah, that's real quick, or not so quick.
Sounds like you might have poured a lot of yourself into the story. That probably gives you a lot of a deeper connection to it, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, but the funny thing is I get this lady that's been helped with marketing wants to do a T-shirt that says "I am Stanley," because the Stanley character, I think one of the reasons for the success of the book is people can really relate to Stanley, his questions and his struggles. So I think Stanley's everybody.
Well, so
Nice.
Bjorn, just to like pop in here, because I'm on your website, right? I've had it open. all weekend. But your series is compared to some huge books. I mean, The Alchemist, which I have read, The Great
Mhm.
Divorce by C.S. Lewis, and you had another one from Jeff Olin who says that it's best of its genre since Illusions. Now, I have
Right.
read all of those books
Yeah.
because those are like iconic books, and I've
Yeah.
read all of them. And so you have so many reviews comparing it and saying that it's
Yeah.
much like you have one from Kathy, right? That says, this is one that sticks out to me. So this is why I want to talk about it, right? And how it is compared to it. Because it says much more relatable and engrossing than The Alchemist, which I love that book. I read
Yeah.
that book, if not every year, every other year. It's a big, very relatable book to me. So the fact that your book is being from one, of your reviewers is saying that it's much more relatable and engrossing. I mean, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
talking about The Great Divorce and comparing your book to that instead of, The Afterlife, it's a road trip across America. I mean, these are huge titles that your series is being
Yeah.
compared to. So I just want to kind of like put the thought out there for if y'all have any feedback. But I mean, those are freaking huge. Like, I love that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
on
Oh,
your
absolutely.
website,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, talk to us about it, because like, those are just freaking awesome to be compared to those.
Yeah. Another one is Way of the Peaceful Warrior, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. You talk, and to go back to the question about what influenced me, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, being a motorcycle guy was was just a phenomenal book. And I've got some type of reading disability. Reading is very difficult to me, so I'm very careful about what I read because I don't have a lot of time and energy to do that. Zen and Other Motorcycle Maintenance is the only book I've really read twice, and it would be a book I read a third time because it's a lot. It's a difficult read because it's not always a captivating story, but the concepts. I read mostly nonfiction, so having he did a great job writing a very philosophical book in a fictional story. But the real big thing here is, and I said I wasn't a great reader. One of my I had to take a remedial reading class in college, and one of the books they made me read was Illusions by Richard Bach, which is and you said you've read that, right, Amy? Yeah. So, anyways, I've had to read that, and it blew my mind. I'm a 20-year-old kid with a stupid 20-year-old kid doing 20-year-old kid stuff. And I read that book, and it just, the only way I would describe it is the section of my brain, the wall between it blew up, and I just started seeing a whole bigger picture of the world. And that book turned me into a reader. And here's the weird thing is book people in Austin. I took it there to see if they would put it on the shelves, and to see if they put my book on the shelves. They put it on the shelf next to Illusions,
Wow.
and I stood there for an hour trying to understand how my book was
Yeah.
next to the book that totally transformed my life. I mean, it was
Yeah.
bizarre.
That's freaking awesome though, man, because the book people in Austin is incredibly difficult to get into just to host an event or to like have
Right.
your book there. So the fact that you're there is awesome. The fact that you're next to Illusions is super cool. And then on
Yeah.
top of that, man, I had to take remedial classes, especially reading in college.
Yeah.
Reading is not my strong suit. I'm a super slow reader, which is why I listen to audiobooks and read along with the book, hoping it'll make me
Right.
stronger.
That's
But
a good
like,
way to do it.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. You're not alone in that, but man, that's just freaking awesome. The next time I'm in Austin, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna take a photo of it. If not,
Well,
get
it's not
all
there.
4 of them.
It's not there anymore. I need to go back and talk to them about getting it put back.
Yeah, you should.
Now that the whole series is finished, and I tell you, man, I don't know if you read on there. This series has been a 15-year journey. I
Yeah,
don't, yeah, and a lot of imposter syndrome and was because like I said, non-writer. I put this book out there, expect to get ripped apart by people because who am I? And
yeah.
then get to compare it to some of the greatest writers out there. I mean, you got to understand what that does to your
It's a
Oh
psyche.
yeah. I
beautiful
mean,
thing. It's a
yeah, you
beautiful,
definitely have to.
beautiful
That speaks to your talent, all the way. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, and the problem with me is I do what I want to do when I do it, when I want to do it. And that means a lot of things don't get done. And writing part two took me, I think, getting through that another 2 or 3 years, and then part three took me another 2 and 3 years. And I've got this series now. Part three is rated 4.9 stars on Amazon, I think. And so this is, I'm getting those type of reviews, and I always talk about Lost, the TV show Lost, because we loved it, but the ending destroyed 6 seasons of a story because the ending was so bad.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And so, anyways, here's this guy that just has this philosophy that if I screw up part four, I've screwed up 3 parts. And, what's the best way to not fail? It's to not do it, right? So I put it off and put it off until I didn't put it off. And then once I started really getting it, it fell out and it felt amazing. And what the catalyst is really interesting is, I was telling you, I was commuting, going through a lot of audiobooks. And when I was doing it, you guys had mentioned in a different video that one of the guys says he watches what he reads because it influences his writing. Well, I was writing the first draft of The Infinite Jeff and going through tons of audiobooks. And I'd get these ideas and I'd go back and incorporate them, because The Infinite Jeff's a very philosophical book, even though it's an easy read, fun read. But I kept working I'd go back and work these ideas into the story. And finally I said, I got to quit reading if I'm ever going to finish this.
Yes.
And so I quit reading. I was down to reading 3 or 4 books a year. And I had a book. Amy, you got a bachelor's in psychology. I saw that. And you may appreciate this. I was looking at, on my shelf, by my bed, I had Maslow on Management. And I had 2 copies of it because someday I wanted to do a book group with Maslow on Management. And one day I'm laying there just looking at it thinking, I'm not writing. I might as well go ahead and read this book, because the book I'd planned on doing after. I read that book, and it was like a nonfiction version of part 2 of my book. It was, and once I wrote that, part 4 became clear. And if I didn't read and I tell people, if I'd written The Infinite Jeff part 4 before I read Maslow on Management, I probably would have pulled it down and rewritten it, because it was such a powerful book for what I'm saying.
On your journey with your series, what would you say is the greatest single moment related to it?
It would probably be standing, looking at the shelf with my book next to one of the greatest books, the most influential books out there. I mean, it's like, how do you it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And then get to the accomplishments. But, I get from readers all the time that it changed their life. I got an email once, or a message from a lady from Slovenia, and she was on a trip to a hospital to get some life-changing surgery. And she picked up my books and said that helped her through all of that. It's it's a cool world when we can influence somebody in Slovenia, right?
Oh, absolutely. Do you feel like it puts pressure on you as an author? I'd like to be there one day.
Well, and that's the weird thing, and it plays you your ego, and especially when I put part 1 out there as expecting a one-hit wonder. But I got the Clinically Depressed and The Puzzler. Those have been produced, my plays, and they get the same response as my books. And I got a rock opera. I can't wait to get out there. But we've had it set for production 3 times, and one was during 2020, and we all know what happened in the world then. And the other time, the guy that was directing it, his mother died, and the third time I had to back out because I had so much going. I was overwhelmed, and so the rock opera, I'd love to get out there. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, but I mean, just the fact that you've had so much success in different areas, that should definitely be a confidence booster for you. That says, tackle whatever you want, more or less.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing because you talk about imposter syndrome is when do I allow myself to call myself a writer, an author, right? And when do I give myself that permission? And and I can tell you exactly when I gave the permission. And I was editing one of my books. I don't remember which one, but I had this idea going through my head for a poem. And so I just pulled up another editor, wrote it out real quick, and thought I'll look at it in the morning. Went back to editing. I woke up in the morning and read that poem, and that's the first time I really looked at something and said, "That's good." And at that point, I allowed myself to call myself a writer, and that was a watershed moment for me.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, I have a question, Will.
Okay,
Number one, I want to tell you I very much appreciate your transparency. It's
no, thank,
nice. Thank
yeah.
you. Uh, who uh, who would do well to read your book? If there's someone seeking something, you're talking about your book having the impact on people. Who are some of the people that might benefit from your books?
And that's the big question, isn't it? That
Yeah,
every author wants to ask, and that's the strange thing with the Infinite Jeff is everybody, as long as they're having some idea about the meaning of life. And the Infinite Jeff, I'm not worried about being right. I'm worried about thinking, right? So if I throw out ideas out there that people disagree with, that's fine. The thing is, it opens up the conversation and the ideas. So I've had every friend, it deals with, I don't want to say religion necessarily, and even spirituality can sound kind of cliche, but meaning of life. And I've had atheist read it and love it. I had one of my coworkers gave it to his daughter who was Hindu, and she wrote me a letter, said, although I'm not Christian, because the story has a very Christian idea. It talks, you can think of Jeff as a messianic type of character, but it's not a Christian novel. Uh, but she said, although not Christian, she said, you've helped me rekindle my relationship with God. And then I get right wing Christians that love it, and left wing Christians. So it's a pretty bizarre audience. If you're
That's
looking for if you're looking for an answer, it's a book for you.
that's really the greatest part about philosophical discussion, though, is there really is no right or wrong per se.
Yeah,
It's just thoughts, and that does reach out to a lot of different people, and I love that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
yeah. And what I tell my kids is the best thing you can do for yourself is listen to people who are wrong, who you believe are wrong, because what you do at that point is you've got to either solidify why you believe they're wrong, really think about it and get a concrete idea why, or you've got to admit you're wrong. And
Right.
and so having that mental conversation with yourself is important.
Or even admitting that there's a truth in between my philosophy and yours, and it's a mix of the two. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities
Oh
when you
yeah,
go there.
yeah, yeah. And we got to be willing to be wrong. We got to
Oh,
be.
absolutely. I'm wrong so often. I'm good with it.
You're married, right?
Of course. So I'm always wrong. Right, Russell?
yeah. Uh, I was wrong today. Remember when I decided to have a cigar while we were in the middle of our
Yeah, but you
movie?
knew what you were doing. That
I
wasn't
knew
an
what I was
accident.
doing.
And
It's
Amy,
even more funny though, because I was gonna sit here and been like, well, I've never been wrong, but Josh is wrong all the time. And then, Will, you're like, well, Bjorn, you're married. And I'm like, oh, well, shit, I was just gonna say that. So it
You were going to
went
make his
Yeah, and
point
you drag him in here to say yes. What
and
she
threaten
was
him
says
with the
is
so
camera
funny.
true.
off.
It was
Yes,
just
what
so
she
funny. He
says is
wouldn't
true.
he would not come in. I've never seen him camera shy, but he like wouldn't come in. I don't know what his problem was.
You were
Like once we
threatening
get off,
him.
when I get off here, I'm gonna go give him hell just because I can. I'm gonna be like, I was right, and you should have just come. Like I don't know what your problem was, but no. Oh my gosh, I like deep thinking books, and not necessarily like deep thinking, but like things that spark that could lead to deep conversations. I think
Yeah.
it builds just like a stronger character, but I think it makes us more, I don't know, humbled probably isn't the right word for it. I can't think of the right word, but I think it just makes us more like humbled human beings to have conversations and always know like your truth or what you find is right isn't necessarily what I do, but like we can still like and interact and we can still be friends and like having those kinds of things. We don't have to find, the
Yeah.
definition of everything. I think
Yeah.
that reading books like that and in sparking conversations that lead down a deeper thought process, I think really just humble us as people. So I love those. Josh really loves those. So now I know like what to get him for Christmas that he'll like
4 foot
read
set.
because he's a hard one to find like books because
Uh-huh.
he reads nonfiction of books is what he reads. And so
Mhm.
these kind of books like this, I think he would really like. So
Yeah.
thanks for making it easy for me to know what to get him. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I said I read mostly nonfiction, and I've read The Alchemist and Illusions, obviously, and Ishmael and all of those. But yeah, so I totally get. But The Infinite Jeff is nice because it's such an easy story, such a fun read, but it will totally keep you up at night thinking about the ideas. So um, I just recently had I had a plumber come by and do some work in my house, and I gave him a copy because authors do stuff like that, thinking people will read their book, right? And well, ends up he read it, and his wife was cleaning the house one day and saw it, and she uh, decides to sit down and read it. She plowed through all 4 parts in a month. I mean, 400,000 words, right? And she says, "I'm not a reader." She says, and she actually teaches a dyslexia class in school, and so now she wants me to come to her classroom and read there. So yeah,
I love that. Like just organic word of mouth, you just giving away a copy of your book and like look what's transpired from it.
oh
Like
yeah,
I love that. You're like the walking billboard of like what an author should do and act and be like. Like I absolutely love it 100%. I know that we are coming up on time. So Russell likes to give me this evil eye look that I always ignore, but he still gives it to me every week. And so I'm trying to avoid that slightly. So we're going to do
Well,
last
yeah,
minute
he hadn't done
comments,
it yet.
questions. I know. He's gearing up for it. It's written all over his face. So we're going to do last minute comments, questions, statements. Russell, I'm going to go to you because you were the one chomping at the bit. I feel like you still have so much you want to ask, but we don't have time for.
I know I didn't get half my questions
I'm
answered in a
sorry,
good
I
way.
talked
In
too
a
much.
good way, Will. In a
Okay,
good way. Your transparency just shut me up because it was beautiful. You made a beautiful
thank you.
show. Uh, I do would like for you to tell listeners where they can find out more about you if they want to learn more about you or your books.
Yeah, follow me on Facebook. That's where I do a lot of my communication. My website is sadly more static than it should be. I've been trying to work on it lately, and but Amazon, read the reviews. Like Amy just said, the reviews speak volumes about how this affects people, both Goodreads and Amazon. But follow me on Facebook because that transparency you talk about. I'll do a will post, and it's that long, and it's about what I'm thinking at that time, and I'll just get this idea. And I've also got some articles on Medium.com. Haven't put anything out there in a while, but the articles I got there are I think are pretty interesting. I got one called "The Big Shift," which is about the future of humanity with AI and where the robotics and the change in technology. We're in a transformational time in history that
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
that. Anyways, yeah. Sorry, Russell. I talked a lot again. Sorry.
No, he loves it. He loves it. When he says transparent, it's a compliment. It's not something that we don't always encounter, but it's a beautiful thing when we do encounter it because it makes for just an easy conversation. And it's one that like, I don't know, I always feel like, and Russell can agree or give his 2 cents, but I always feel like those are the shows for us that we truly do end up leaving, like being long-term friends, because it is just like, we've all just made friends kind of out of it. And I can attest to the Facebook communication. That's how me and Will met. That's how we communicated and could book him for the show. So like Facebook is definitely how you can communicate and the best way to kind of keep up to date with Will for sure. But Bjorn, your final question statement coming from you.
I just want to say, keep going, man. I mean, all the successes you've had in the different areas, that's for the rest of us, that are, working up to that level. That's just an awesome guiding light for us. Keep going, just keep doing it.
It is a beautiful thing. I think he's frozen, but it's
It looked like
it's in like a good pose though. Like when I freeze, it's never like that. It's never like that when I freeze at all. But with that, hopefully, Will, you will come back. But if not, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us, even though obviously he didn't, but he'll come back. Taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us and speak with us. You are always welcome back. It's been a fantastic show. You guys get ready because kids are starting to hit up school. So Sanity will be back. My kids won't be making an appearance on our shows now anytime soon. But until next Monday, you guys, bye for now, everybody.